Welcome, Changelings. Tova here. So today I'm going to pull another card from my whole health card deck and talk about the practice, some of my thoughts on it. The whole health card deck is a deck that I created. It is available on both Amazon and Etsy. There are links in the video description below. Typically, those links don't work. If that is the case, you can find links on my website, tovaabelmancoaching.com. I also have an app available for both iOS and Google Play, Whole Health Mindful Behavior. You can similarly find links either in the video description or on my website. I'm also accepting holistic wellness consulting clients, both for individual. I'm also putting together some groups that are described on my website, so be sure to check that out. So let's just jump in. I'm going to pull a card, and I'm not looking, don't know what card I'm going to pull, and I pulled this one. This started off as a photograph that I took in Kauai, which is in Hawaii. It's one of my absolutely favorite places. And then, of course, I did some editing to the card. And the practice is compassionate self. So this card is related to the concept of healthy inner multiplicity. So thinking about a compassionate part of ourselves. And the practice starts with, how do you respond to yourself when you're experiencing intense emotions? So when you're experiencing intense emotions, you can think of it as like there's a part of you that's experiencing that intense emotion, and there's another part of you that's aware, right? So if you're angry, for example, a part of you is angry, and a part of you is aware that you're angry, right? So that's just looking at, two different parts of self. So this talks about, how might a compassionate and patient caregiver respond to a baby who's distressed, right? And even thinking about an inner child, and maybe something is upsetting the inner child, or not. You don't have to think about the inner child, but how would a caregiver relate to a baby that's in distress, right? They might rock it, they might just be with that distress, they might try to soothe the baby, but they generally, they wouldn't really, well, if they were to respond harshly, the baby's distress would increase, and that would create all kinds of problems that we're not going to go into right now. However, but we often respond to ourselves when we're in emotional pain in ways that are harsh or judgmental, or we take on a critical role. The inner critic comes out. And that really just exacerbates our suffering. So what this card is asking us to do is that the next time we experience painful and intense emotions, to try stepping into that caregiver role, in terms of how you're relating to yourself and giving yourself care, kindness, compassion, and patience. So this card, this is a lot. There's a lot to unpack with this card. If you're using this in your own life, choose an element that really resonates with you or that you feel really good about doing. This is something that I could work with a client, one-on-one or even in a group, to kind of work through those different parts of ourselves, like what part of us is upset about a given whatever that happened in life, and then how can we strengthen that compassionate part of ourselves, and importantly, how can we strengthen the part of ourselves that can direct us, that notices there's a part that's upset and can direct us into that more compassionate role. And this is really getting into intrapersonal relating, so how we're relating to ourselves. Not interpersonal is how we relate to other people. Intra is more of an inner relating. So when we notice that a part of ourselves is upset, how can we, instead of being critical and judgmental of ourselves, that's a role, that's an inner part of self, step into another role that is actually more soothing and that is more compassionate, the compassionate self. And that's not easy. That's a lot to do. But just something maybe to even just start noticing. Awareness is often the first step, just starting to get awareness of when a part of you is feeling very distressed and starting to notice that distinction of like, okay, I know there's a part of me that's upset, and I see that. That's a part of me that notices. That observer stance can give some distance. And then how can I step into a compassionate part of myself, a compassionate role? So I hope that was helpful. If you made it this far, drop a unicorn emoji in the comments, and I will see you next time.